everyone, Voodoo here, and I'm here today with a hopefully quick video. I want to talk about some new tech for Mythic Plus. Now, there's been some cooking done with the Mythic Plus build we're playing. There's more options. I don't want to say this is better straight up, because again, it's Mythic Plus, right? Some things can be different depending on pull size, depending on dungeon, depending on group composition. But there are more options that perform pretty well in keys for you to play around with. Not major shifts in the build. It still plays pretty much the same, but it might be a little bit easier for you, or do a little more AoE damage, maybe a little bit less single targets. We're gonna talk about that today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 12,000 subs. That'd be sick to hit. And I don't know, let's just get on with it. Okay, so here we are in game, and this is the new build. Now it's basically the exact same. It's basically all it's changing is 3 points. So there were 2 points in Dancing with Fate that have been moved over to Blind Fury, and 1 point in Glaive Tempest that was moved to Inner Demon. Now this is the build. You can call it Beam build, you can call it Shatterwreck build, you can call it whatever the hell you want. It's a free country, free speech, do whatever you want. But basically what happens here is that you're trading off single target and consistent AoE with Glaive Tempest, and single target with Dancing with Fate, for more burst damage, as well as just like less clutter in your rotation. Blind Fury, obviously, with I-Beam, this does a ton of damage, and Inner Demon is just a little bit more simpler to use. You're already using your Annihilations after I-Beam anyways because of Demon Surge, and this means that you just get a little bit extra AoE damage on top of that, again, making your burst windows even bigger. So there are some options here. We'll talk about how this build kind of happened, and we'll talk about the sims and stuff after as well. But basically, this build kind of popped up for two reasons, whatever. One of them is that they fixed the I-Beam bug. So for those of you who didn't know, a while ago, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I-Beam was bugged in like multiple ways. One, it was the wrong thing, so it was actually being reduced after 1 target instead of 5, as the tooltip says. Isolated Prey didn't work, which doesn't matter for this build, but it got fixed. And then Chaotic Disposition also was not working on I-Beam as well. Chaotic Disposition alone is roughly like a 9% of I-Beam's damage. So that was a pretty big buff to I-Beam, plus it actually does splitting damage now, and actually does like a ton of damage. I don't have any dungeons here, but if we look at like just like a random Brood Twister build, random Brood Twister pull, I-Beam does a ton of damage. I cast it twice, and it did 8.4% of my damage on just this random Brood Twister pull. This one it did 7.6%. So it actually does like a solid amount of damage, even in that mass AoE. So those buffs came around, and that made Blind Fury a lot better. Oh, that's stupid guild thing. That made it a lot better. Now, the swap over to Inner Demon happened because of Glaive Tempest just being really weird in our priority, right? You don't really want to use it ever when you're in demon form, and we have such a long burst window now with doing your I-Beam, then your 2 Demon Surges, then Meta, then all your Demon Surges, then Essence Break, where it just kind of fell out of the rotation pretty often, and you weren't really pushing it that much. Nor were you really getting a ton of great value out of it, because oftentimes you have to hold this for like 22 seconds or something like that, which is its CD. So that was dropped as well for Inner Demon. Now, this build isn't just clear-cut better. We'll talk about sims after. I do have sims up for this. Obviously, what you're doing here is trading off a lot of single target and damage outside of your CDs. What this build does is do a metric ton of damage inside of your burst windows, right? All you're doing is increasing I-Beam damage by like a quite substantial amount, because you're getting 20% more damage and duration, so you're getting more ticks on it. And you're also just getting free Inner Demons with your mastery buffs up, so you'll get like 3 of these, each of them hitting with your mastery buff and doing like a pretty solid amount of damage as well. So you're doing a lot there, but again, Glaive Tempest also pretty strong in terms of damage. 32,000 chaos damage every 20 seconds is more than this, but it does cost Fury. There's the opportunity cost from the tier set, right? Your tier set really wants you to be pushing Chaos Strike to get more Blade Dances, which, you know, works there as well. But again, you are losing out on priority damage and single target. Now, it's also possible that you want to do this, right? Dancing with Fate and Inner Demon, kind of like a middle ground thing, or even Glaive Tempest and Blind Fury. This is less so a build and more so a tool in your toolbox, so to speak. If you're in a dungeon where you want pretty consistent damage, pretty good single target damage, you can do something like this. If you want to keep that single target damage, but you don't really feel like pushing out Glaive Tempest too much, you want a bit more priority damage because you're just going to use more Chaos Strikes, you can keep this. Oh, this bug's annoying. If you want to go full AoE, you can drop this and pick up Blind Fury, right? So there's a ton of options here, and modality and optionality for how you want to tailor your loadout for a dungeon, whether it is like the comp, maybe you're with 2 Frost DKs and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do any AoE damage to this thing. Okay, we'll do 2 Dancing with Fate and a Glaive Tempest. Maybe you're with really strong single target classes and you're like, okay, you know, they'll have really consistent burst. They'll have really strong single target, but our mass pull capabilities every 40 seconds or every 2 minutes is a little bit lower in this comp. Okay, I'll go more of an AoE loadout, or maybe it's a dungeon with smaller pulls. You're like, okay, we're pulling smaller, so we'll do this and this. You get the idea here, right? You have kind of the consistent options, less high-end AoE damage, less single target, more consistent AoE damage, priority and single target, and then you have like the simpler, because I guess you're just pushing one less button. It's not a big rotational change, but it is one. The simpler option of just using Inner Demon with Blind Fury and doing a ton more burst damage. Those are kind of the choices there. So we'll take a look at the Sims now and do a little bit of breakdown there, and then we'll just sign off the video after that. All right, so here we are with Sims on my character. Now, of course, it is my character, so don't worry about it too much. Yours might be a little bit different. But we have a few Sims here. So this is a single target 3-minute Sim. With no lust, just Chaos Brand, which obviously isn't always the what's going to happen here, but this is just for how you emulate like a Mythic Plus boss. This is single target. As you can see here, it's like very slightly ahead. A lot of these things are going to be very close to each other. We're talking about very minor differences, but of course, like it is, Inner Demon's going to be a bit better single target than Glaive Tempest. Glaive Tempest is more like the consistent AoE option, but again, it's showing that it is slightly ahead on single target and priority damage. Sims are weird, of course, but it is, pretty close, at least that for my character. Looking over at Dungeon Slice. Dungeon Slice, again, we see that this one actually does win out here by 0.6%, which is really interesting. Dungeon Slice has some problems based on how cooldowns are used, when things are used, but it does give a bit of a picture. And then we also have some other ones here as well. One for 5 minutes, 8 boss targets. Again, we see they're very close to each other. And then one again for 8 boss targets for 1.5 minutes, which is like more of a burst pull. You'll see that this build will start to pull away at like higher target counts, just because maybe even this does so much damage. They're all target capped, of course. These two at 5, Glaive Tempest also at 8. So Glaive Tempest does do a lot of damage up to 8 targets. We'll start to drop off after that. I-Beam and Inner Demon are at the 5 target count, but as you can see from the Sims that they're all pretty close to each other, with this build being slightly more AoE damage and this build being slightly more single target damage. Now, of course, you can probably mix and match depending on what you want. If you want Inner Demon, you can swap it out for Glaive Tempest and it will be more single target and more burst in your window, but less consistent AoE. And again, you can go with this or with maybe your Blind Fury and Glaive Tempest for that burst, but also a little bit consistent. Really, there's a lot of different ways you can go at this. As long as you're putting your points into some of those talents, you're doing fine. There are no rotational changes with any of these things, so I'm not going to really cover that in this video. This is more of a talky talk, yappy man video, or at less than a gameplay one. Is what it is. But there you go. Yeah, that is going to kind of be the video today. I just wanted to shed light on this, on like the I-Beam build stuff. I know a lot of people like having I-Beam be a lot of their damage. And if you like that, then taking Blind Fury is going to be a very easy way of bumping up your I-Beam damage to pretty high levels. I-Beam is pretty strong, guys. It is what it is. Kind of crazy because it was bad for a while. So yeah, that's gonna be the video for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I am recording this on Friday. I have to go to a cottage for the weekend for my grandmother's birthday, which is gonna be a lot of fun. So I had to bounce. Sorry for no streams over the weekend. You'll be seeing this Monday, of course, after I'm back. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Are you swapping builds? Are you playing this one still? Really are a lot of choices, which I think is pretty good. There's a lot of options for how you want to tailor your build to the situation that you find yourself in, which is great and shows a lot of skill expression. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you Sky Elk, Andrew Keenel, 100,001 Zans, Brad Wisniak, Felfa Darren Dark Terror, and Magic Man 133. Thank you all so much. If you want to help support me and help fund the channels and the videos, follow the link in the description to become a channel member and get some cool perks in the process. Again, thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.